Rain pounded against Lena Harper's old car as she drove home from her night shift. Ahead was nothing but darkness and cold. She just wanted to get home safely. But then a small figure appeared by the roadside, a boy, no older than 10, shivering beneath a flickering billboard. Throwing open the car door, she rushed to him, bringing him home, offering food and warmth. Yet when she saw the crumpled photo he carried, a hidden truth began to surface, and when it slipped from his hands onto the cold floor, everything changed. Before we continue, tell us what time it is and where you're watching from, and subscribe because tomorrow I've got something extra special for you. The rain had been falling for hours, drumming against the windows of St. Clair Memorial Hospital like 1,000 impatient fingers. Inside the staff locker room, Lena Harper sat on the wooden bench, her scrubs still damp from the sweat of a 12-hour shift. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in a tired yellowish glow. She stared at her hands, strong hands, capable hands, hands that had changed bedpans and held the trembling fingers of dying patients. Her name tag read L. Harper RN in bold letters, but she knew that to some people in this building she was just the girl, or that one. Another day done, she thought. Another day of pretending not to notice. She stood slowly, her knees protesting. 27 wasn't supposed to feel this old, but nursing had a way of aging you from the inside out. She grabbed her jacket from the locker, a thick navy blue coat her brother had given her last Christmas, and headed toward the exit. "Night, Lena," called out Sandra, one of the older nurses. Sandra had kind eyes and gray hair she wore in a tight bun. "Night, Sandra, drive safe." "You too, honey. Roads are bad tonight." Lena pushed through the heavy doors into the parking lot. The rain hit her immediately, cold and relentless. She ran to her car, a 12-year-old Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door and a heater that only worked half the time. She climbed inside, shivering, and started the engine. The smell of hospital disinfectant still clung to her uniform blouse hanging in the back seat. She'd tried washing it 3 times, but that antiseptic smell never fully came out. It was like a mark, a reminder of where she spent most of her waking hours. "At least I'm making a difference," she told herself, though tonight she wasn't sure she believed it. She turned on the heater and rubbed her hands together, waiting for warmth that was slow to come. Through the rain-streaked windshield, the city lights of Riverton blurred into watercolor smears of yellow and red. "All right," she whispered to herself. "Let's go home." Lena drove slowly through the rain-soaked streets, her windshield wipers working overtime. The radio played softly, some old gospel song her mother used to hum. She turned down Riverside Avenue, a route she took most nights because it was quiet and she could think. The street lights reflected off the puddles, creating pools of shimmering light. Most people were inside, safe and warm. The shops were closed, their windows dark. It was the kind of night where the world felt smaller, more lonesome. As she rounded the bend near the old riverfront warehouses, her headlights caught something. A small figure, huddled beneath a rusted billboard advertising a furniture store that had closed years ago. Lena's heart jumped. She slowed the car, squinting through the rain. "Is that a child?" A little boy soaking wet, arms wrapped around himself, shaking. She didn't think, she just acted. Lena pulled over sharply, threw the car into park, and jumped out into the rain. Her shoes splashed through a puddle as she ran toward him. "Hey, honey, are you okay?" she called out, her voice nearly lost in the downpour. The boy looked up, startled. His eyes were wide with fear, big brown eyes that seemed too old for his small face. He couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old. His clothes were drenched, his hair plastered to his forehead. Lena stopped a few feet away, not wanting to scare him more. She crouched down, trying to make herself less imposing. "I'm not going to hurt you, sweetheart. I promise. Look." She reached into her pocket and pulled out her hospital ID badge, holding it up so he could see her photo and the words "registered nurse." "I work at the hospital, I help people. That's all I want to do, help you." The boy stared at the badge, then at her face. His lips were trembling, whether from cold or fear she couldn't tell. "What's your name?" she asked gently. He didn't answer right away. The rain poured down between them. Finally, in a voice barely louder than a whisper, he said, "Noah." "Noah, that's a good name." Lena smiled, trying to put warmth into her expression despite the cold. "I'm Lena. Can you tell me what you're doing out here, Noah? Where are your parents?" He shook his head quickly, clutching something against his chest. She couldn't see what it was. Are you hurt? Another shake of the head. Are you scared? A pause, then slowly, a nod. Lena's heart broke a little. This poor baby. Okay, listen to me, Noah. I have a warm car right over there, and I have a blanket in the back. How about you come sit inside for a minute, just to get warm? You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to. We'll just get you out of this rain. Is that okay? Noah looked at her for a long moment. She could see him weighing his options, trust this stranger or stay here in the cold. Finally, he gave a tiny nod. Okay, Lena said softly. Come on, honey, let's get you warm. She stood and held out her hand. After a moment's hesitation, Noah took it. His hand was freezing, small and fragile in hers. She led him quickly to the car and opened the passenger door, helping him inside. She grabbed an old fleece blanket from the back seat, slightly worn but clean, and wrapped it around his shoulders. Then she cranked the heater up as high as it would go. Noah sat there, shivering, the blanket pulled tight around him. Lena climbed into the driver's seat, rain dripping from her hair. Better? She asked. He nodded, but he still looked terrified. What happened to you, baby? She wondered. Who left you out here alone? Are you hungry? She asked. Another nod. Okay, I'm going to take you to my place. It's not far. I'll get you something to eat, and some dry clothes, and then we'll figure out how to find your family. Does that sound all right? Noah looked at her, studying her face. She could see him trying to decide if he could trust her. I promise, Lena said quietly. I'm one of the good ones. Finally, he whispered, okay. As she put the car in drive, Lena glanced at him in the passenger seat. He was still clutching something against his chest under the blanket, something he clearly didn't want to let go of. One step at a time, she told herself. First, get him warm, then get him fed, then we'll talk. The rain drummed on the roof as they drove through the empty streets. Inside the car, it was quiet except for the hum of the heater. Lena kept glancing over at Noah, making sure he was okay. He stared straight ahead, his face pale and drawn, but his shivering was starting to ease. Please God, Lena thought, let me help this child. Lena's apartment was small but tidy, a one-bedroom on the second floor of an old building in a modest part of town. The walls were painted a soft cream color, and she'd hung a few pictures: her family at a barbecue, a sunset over the river, a Bible verse in a wooden frame. She led Noah inside, locking the door behind them. The warmth of the apartment wrapped around them immediately, a sharp contrast to the cold outside. Okay, honey, Lena said, kneeling down to Noah's level. First things first, you need to get out of those wet clothes. I have some old pajamas from my little brother. He stays here sometimes. They might be a bit big, but they're warm and dry. Sound good? Noah nodded. Lena went to her dresser and pulled out a pair of soft cotton pajamas, blue with little stars on them. She handed them to Noah, along with a towel. The bathroom's right through that door. You can take a warm shower if you want, or just change. Whatever makes you comfortable. I'll be right out here making you something to eat. Okay? Okay, Noah whispered. He disappeared into the bathroom, and Lena heard the door lock. She let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Thank you, Jesus, she thought. Now let's get this baby fed. She went to the kitchen and started pulling out ingredients. She didn't have much, but she had chicken broth, some leftover rotisserie chicken, carrots, celery, and egg noodles. Chicken soup, simple warm filling. As she chopped the vegetables, her mind raced. Who is this child? Why was he out there alone? Should I call the police? But something in her gut told her to wait, to hear his story first. Kids didn't run away for no reason, and if he was running from something bad, the last thing she wanted was to scare him off before she could help. 15 minutes later, Noah emerged from the bathroom. The pajamas hung loose on his thin frame, the sleeves covering his hands, the pants pulling around his feet. His hair was still damp, but no longer dripping. He looked younger somehow, more vulnerable. Feel better? Lena asked with a gentle smile. He nodded. Good, come sit at the table. Soup's almost ready. Noah climbed onto one of the kitchen chairs, his feet dangling above the floor. Lena ladled the hot soup into a bowl and placed it in front of him, along with some crackers and a glass of water. Careful, it's hot. Blow on it first. Noah picked up the spoon and took a tentative sip, then another. Then he started eating more quickly, hungrily. Lena sat down across from him with her own small bowl, though she wasn't really hungry. She just wanted him to feel less alone. "This is good," Noah said quietly. "Thank you, baby. My mama taught me how to make it." They ate in silence for a few minutes. The rain continued to patter against the window, but inside, the apartment felt like a cocoon, safe, warm, separate from the harsh world outside. When Noah had finished his bowl, Lena asked, "Do you want more?" He shook his head. "Okay." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Noah, I need to ask you some questions. I'm not trying to get you in trouble or make you do anything you don't want to do. I just want to help. Can we talk?" Noah looked down at his empty bowl, then slowly nodded. "Thank you." Lena took a breath. "Can you tell me why you were out in the rain tonight?" Noah was quiet for a long moment, then in a small voice he said, "I was looking for my dad." Lena's heart squeezed. "Where is your dad, honey?" Noah reached into the pocket of his wet jeans, which Lena had draped over a chair to dry. He pulled out something, a photograph, crumpled and water-stained but still intact. He laid it on the table between them. Lena leaned forward, studying the photograph under the soft kitchen light. It was a picture torn from a magazine or newspaper. She could see the glossy sheen and the way the edges were rough, like it had been ripped out carefully. The image showed the front entrance of St. Clair Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where she worked. In the bottom corner, in wobbly pencil handwriting, were the words, "I will come here to find Dad." Lena felt a chill that had nothing to do with the rain outside. "Your dad, he works at the hospital?" she asked gently. Noah nodded, his eyes fixed on the photograph like it was a treasure map. "He's a doctor, he does surgeries. He said he'd come home after his shift, but..." His voice cracked. "It's been 3 days. 3 days." The words hung in the air like a weight. Lena's mind started racing. A surgeon who hadn't come home in 3 days. That could mean anything: an emergency, a long surgery, a family emergency of his own, or something worse. But she pushed those thoughts aside. Right now, she needed to focus on the little boy in front of her. "What's your dad's name, Noah?" The boy looked up at her, his brown eyes shimmering with tears he was trying not to shed. "Dr. Adrian Westbrook." Lena's breath caught. Adrian Westbrook. She knew that name. Everyone at St. Clair knew that name, even if they'd never met him. Dr. Adrian Westbrook was a legend in the surgical wing, a brilliant cardiovascular surgeon who'd been featured in medical journals, who'd developed new techniques, who saved lives that other doctors had given up on. But he was also a ghost. Lena had been working at St. Clair for 3 years, and she'd never once seen him. He didn't come to staff meetings, didn't eat in the cafeteria, didn't socialize. He came in, did his surgeries, and disappeared. Some of the older nurses said he'd been different once, more engaged, but something had changed him. They whispered about a divorce, about a custody battle, but no one knew the details. And now here was his son, sitting in her kitchen, eating soup because he'd been alone in the rain, looking for his father. Lena felt a surge of anger, at Dr. Westbrook, at whatever circumstances had led to this, at a world where a child could be so lost. But she tamped it down. Anger wouldn't help Noah right now. "Okay," she said softly. "I know who your dad is. I work at the same hospital." Noah's face lit up with hope, the first real emotion she'd seen from him, besides fear. "You do? Do you know where he is?" "I don't, honey. I've never actually met him, but I can help you find him. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you to the hospital, and we'll look for him together. I promise." The hope in Noah's eyes dimmed slightly, but he nodded. "Okay." Lena reached across the table and gently squeezed his hand. "In the meantime, you're safe here. You can sleep in my room tonight. I'll take the couch, and when you wake up, we'll have breakfast, and then we'll go find your dad. Does that sound all right?" "Yes, ma'am. You don't have to call me